Everyone has secrets, but some should stay buried. I was 27 years old when I found the box. It was in the attic of my mother's house, covered with an old sheet and dust, and right on top of it, a note with only 3 words, handwritten. Never open this. That was the beginning of the end of my peace. Because you can't just ignore something like that, especially when everything in your life is falling apart and you feel ready to uncover the truth no one ever wanted you to know. That's what I did. And that choice changed everything. The box was dark wood, heavy, closed with a small golden padlock, a little rusty but still solid. My mother had never mentioned it, ever, and I'd been up in that attic hundreds of times. That night, she was asleep. She takes sleeping pills, so I knew she wouldn't wake up. I snuck the box down under my coat. My heart was racing, my hands were shaking. I set it on the kitchen table, grabbed a butter knife, and started prying the lock. After a few minutes, it snapped. The lid creaked open, and inside, there were only 3 things. 1, a sealed yellow envelope. 2, a necklace with a broken cross. 3, a voice recorder. I started with the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter, my mother's handwriting, and the first sentence read, "If you're reading this, it means you disobeyed me. But a part of me knew this day would come." I kept reading with my throat tight. She explained that in 1994, before I was born, she worked as a nanny for a child named Samuel. And while staying at that house, she witnessed things no one would ever believe. Things involving a wealthy family, rituals, secret meetings, shadows at night, and the boy, Samuel, saying he saw people behind the walls. One day, he disappeared, without a trace, and the family covered it up. My mother swore to never tell a soul, but she kept the evidence in that box, because deep down she knew it wasn't over. The recorder still worked. It was old, but when I pressed play, a voice came through. My mother's voice, crying and saying, "They know where I am. If anything happens to me, look behind the bathroom mirror." I froze. I ran to the bathroom. The mirror was screwed into the wall. I grabbed a screwdriver and started removing it. Behind it, hidden in the wall, was another envelope. Inside were photographs. Photos of the boy, Samuel, and more photos, a basement, strange symbols on the floor, candles, blurred faces, people I didn't recognize, except for one face, a man. And that man was the same person as our old neighbor, Mr. Elias. Mr. Elias had lived next to my mother for years, a lonely man, strange, always seemed to know too much. And now I was staring at his face in a photo from nearly 30 years ago, standing beside a missing child. I showed the box to my girlfriend, played her the recording. She begged me to stop digging, but I couldn't stop now. I searched Samuel's name online. I found an old newspaper article, dated 1994. Child disappears in rural estate. Case closed without conclusion. The family name? Costa Ribeiro. Wealthy, powerful. And the head of the family? Elias Costa Ribeiro. It was him, my mother's neighbor. I waited for a night when my mom was out. I went to Mr. Elias's house. He opened the door, smiled, and said, "You've grown." I froze. "Excuse me?" "I knew one day you'd open the box." I tried to stay calm. "Who was Samuel?" He sighed, invited me in, and then he told me everything. Samuel was his son, but not in the normal way. Samuel was the result of something experimental. According to him, a spiritual birth. Samuel's mother disappeared weeks after the child was born, and the boy started seeing things from a very young age. The rest of the family believed he was cursed, a threat, so they gave him away to a group that promised purification. But my mother found out and tried to save him. She almost succeeded, but failed, and fled with the proof, with the box. He said, "Your mother isn't who you think she is. She didn't tell you everything." I rushed home, found my mother crying in the living room. She already knew. She said that on the night she tried to escape with Samuel, the men from the group arrived first. They took him, and she swore to keep the secret to protect me. I asked her, "What if he's still alive?" She looked me in the eyes and said, "He is." "How do you know?" "Because he came looking for you." My blood froze. The note, the one that said, "Never open this," that wasn't written by me, son. It was him. If you're still watching, take a deep breath, because that was just the beginning. Is Samuel really alive? What did they do to him? Who was the group involved? And the biggest question, why did he leave that note for me after all these years? Maybe I'll find out. Maybe you'll find out with me. But that is a story for another video. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the continuation of this mystery. There's another video on the screen right now. Click on it because you're not going to believe what happens in that one. See you next time.